Christie's vaccine statement aside, New Jersey already allows parents to refuse on religious grounds. It's going to be a good topic. So let me get the image up here. If I can freaking find it. Jeez, unbelievable. Go ahead, Drew, have at it.
Governor Chris Christie created a stir during a trade trip to London this week when he defended parents' right to decide whether their children should get mandated vaccines. Remarks that a spokesperson quickly clarified by saying the governor, quote, believes vaccines are an important public health protection. Back home in New Jersey, where Christie's health commissioner has been a vocal advocate for vaccinations, parents already have the right to make those decisions if they put in writing that accepting vaccines violates their religious beliefs. In the 2013-14 school year, nearly 9,000 New Jersey children used a religious exemption to decline immunizations that under state law children must receive in order to attend school. The largest number of exemptions were sought in Hunterdon, Monmouth, Warren, and Sussex counties, according to state education department data. A parent need only submit a signed statement indicating, quote, immunization interferes with the free exercise of the pupil's religious rights, according to the health department website. Parents do not need to produce a letter from a clergy member or cite religious doctrine. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie has vowed to veto a bill that would make New Jersey the 8th U.S. state to legalize gay marriage. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said that there would be a balance between the government and a parent's right to choose whether a child is vaccinated. When coupled with the 1,592 children who did not receive the shots for medical reasons last year, about 2% of New Jersey's student population is unvaccinated, the state data said. The standard vaccine regimen provides protection against diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, polio, measles, mumps, and rubella, influenza, hepatitis B, and chickenpox. According to the 2013 National Immunization Survey, New Jersey ranked 22 in the nation for vaccine compliance, with almost 73% of New Jersey children ages 19 to 35 months receiving the recommended vaccine doses according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The national average vaccination rate is 70.4%, according to the CDC. Rhode Island scored the highest vaccination rate with 82.1%. Arkansas has the lowest rate at 57.1%. In a report released last week, the Pew Research Center documented the gulf between the public's and the scientific community's views on vaccine requirements. When asked whether vaccines for measles, mumps, rubella, and polio should be required, 86% of the members of the American Association for the Advancement of Science said yes, compared with 68% of the public polled by Pew.
Unbelievable. Thanks, Drew.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, Drew, was this your topic? You want to go on from here?
Yeah, it was mine. I wanted to raise two questions here, and then I guess we could just kind of have a free for all if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah, sure.
At what point does it become society's business when kids are put at risk like this? Is my first question, and the next one is why the hell does religion get to be used as a get out of shit free card?
No, I mean, like, you're right on that, and I'll expand on. I'll actually answer probably one of your questions. Is there's a reason why we have these mandated vaccines, so of course, people or children, they don't die or create an outbreak or a widespread epidemic or pandemic. What it boils down to is, fuck the religious rights. This is about other people's children, like you stated, and humanity. Religion has no say, in my opinion, when it comes to these issues, these social issues. I'm like, religion has no fucking say, especially here in the United States, in my opinion. What it boils down to is if the religious parents have the so-called religious right, if they believe they have this religious right over mandated vaccines, then they can keep their kids locked up in a basement or in church. Where they can affect, I should say, other religious children, or they can affect other religious children. Maybe that's a way, religion will die.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even that,
sarcasm there, by the way, sarcasm.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, but I mean, some people would advocate maybe something like that, but at the same time, it's still, children.
Correct.
It's children that can't make these decisions, for themselves. I mean, at what point? Because obviously there is a point. We have. The Child Protective Services and things like that. I mean, at what point do you have to draw the line there? And I understand, I think everybody here will agree that we can't just, it was for the religious beliefs. If you did that, how is that any different than like the kid that their parents decided, we're not going to get treatment, we're just going to pray the cancer away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, really, what's the difference?
No, I mean, it's been proven that you have to have a certain amount of the population vaccinated, like the herd. You have to have a certain amount of the herd vaccinated, and otherwise you get fucked. You get outbreaks like we have now in California, where they're now what they're trying to repeal the part of the opt out for vaccines. The vaccines they're going to try to in California. They're going to try to take away the part where you can religious exemption. So you'd only have it for really legitimate reasons, valid medical reasons. You have allergies to something that's actually in the vaccine, something that happened, et cetera, et cetera. There's a valid medical reason, not because I read a passage in a book and it told me I can't have blood transfusions or some other stupid shit.
No.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add is during this last round of, I guess you could say, vaccine panic, with the mumps and everything, I forget what state it was, but it has become a talking point that all but two states, Mississippi and West Virginia, allow parents to skip vaccinations for their children for non-medical reasons. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
Some states offer a personal belief exemption, from vaccination, and most states have the option of a religious exemptions, which we have covered on the show before.
Yeah.
Some states have both, of course, but yeah.
And that's what California's trying to get at. They're recently the Democrats introduced. They're trying to strike down that portion of the religious exemption so that people would have to get vaccinated. Which is, I mean, I think they should. There's respecting your religious belief to a certain point, but when your religious beliefs start to affect other people negatively,
Society,
then there's something that needs to be done, especially when it involves children. Fine, you don't want to vaccinate your children, but you got to think about, you don't vaccinate your children, you're putting other people's children at risk. People who are younger than those that could actually be vaccinated can be infected because you decided not to vaccinate your child, and then your child got the measles or whatever and gave it to this other child who couldn't be vaccinated because they're too young or whatnot. So it's the people are being selfish, thinking, oh well, I don't want my child to be like that because of my religious beliefs, but they're not thinking about everyone else too. All they give a fuck is about their religious beliefs, and making sure that they're respected.
No, exactly. And I want to make another point here is we understand vaccines are not 100% to a certain point, especially what recently happened with this year's flu vaccine, where due to a new strain of it, they already had the shit produced back in March. So they end up producing, I think it was February, March, they produced the following year's vaccine for the flu. So what happened is this new strain, it wasn't 100%. It didn't 100% protect against the new strain. But what happened is, you really didn't get as sick as you could have gotten sick. So it did protect up to, I think it was 60%, the new strain of the flu, which is okay, but we understand that there's this new strain and they'll fix it next year, with the new vaccinations. But another point I want to make is we got to remember that there's a lot of people out there that, purchased Jenny McCarthy's book and this and that. She's a huge was a huge anti-vaxxer. And a couple quotes I'm going to say here is a couple of her quotes, I should say, is, quote, if you ask a parent of an autistic child if they want the measles or the autism, we stand in line for the fucking measles. And then another quote by her is, the reason why parents are not vaccinating is because the vaccines are not safe. Make a better product and then parents will vaccine, which is total bullshit in my opinion. Yeah. But one thing,
that's all from a study that has been debunked and refuted so many goddamn times.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yep. And
I'm just trying to figure a way to sell these people like an unvaccine shot.
Yeah, really right.
It'll kill all the vaccine stuff that you got earlier in your life. And then I can get rich off of these dumbasses because it would be pretty easy. But I'd have to get rid of this video.
I mean,
obviously.
It's like, what, they want polio to come back in this country or something? They want it to come back worldwide? Is that a good thing? I mean, we did so much to eradicate that worldwide. We did so much to eradicate all these things, like smallpox, right? Mm-hmm. Most people nowadays, they don't get smallpox shots, of course, obviously. If you're old enough, you'll have the scar on your arm. Or if you've been in the service and overseas, you'll have the scar on your arm up here. Most people don't get it because it's not, it's not something that's actually rampant anymore. But when people stop vaccinating, when people allow things to keep going, and they are trying to undo the technological progress because they think they know better because they read something that coincides with their belief that, you know, their child suffered because, oh, they got vaccinated, somehow this is causing this, and that's why we should, or, you know, this is causing the problems and we shouldn't do it because the vaccinations are the problems and there's no causal link to it. You have people who are doing that. It's just, I don't understand it at all.
No, you're right, Paul. One thing I want to say, and I'll get TruthSurge in here, see what his opinion is on this, is on this story, I hope Christie will pay for the family's funeral bills, the ones that don't get vaccinated. So if he's going to have this stance, then he can pay the funeral bills. Okay. TruthSurge, you got anything to say on this topic?
Well, I don't want to talk too long about this, but I don't know. I'm kind of, you know, I have an opinion, or I have opinions that maybe, you know, on the one hand, I understand, you know, the concept of we don't want to inject our child with some chemical that's going to harm them. And so that that hovering, that lingering, that dark cloud that just kind of lingers over people because of all the questions about the autism and the mercury amounts in the various vaccines. I mean, I totally understand that, and I feel it too. But I mean, I feel that one of the reasons you know, in my position, you know, physically now is because of an incompetent doctor who prescribed way too much of a drug. And I, at the time, was mentally and emotionally and physically beaten down, and I didn't research the dosage, and probably I ended up taking like 8 times what I should have been on. And so I totally understand. I think if I was a parent, I would be, I mean, I wouldn't just be vaccinate. If it was 50 years ago, I'd say vaccinate. But now I would at least feel this burden, this obligation to try at least research it, you know, and if they're saying this is causing autism, see what studies really are out there. See who did the studies. Look at how much different types of mercury are in the vaccines, the particular vaccines, and then how much is in the tuna fish I've been giving my kid for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And go, okay, well, I've been,
you know.
you know what I'm saying? I've been giving him a tuna fish sandwich every week, and that's more mercury than this vaccine he's about to get. But now some of these kids, maybe they get like 7 or 8 vaccines all in the same day. So there's another issue. So I'm just saying I 2 things, and then I'll shut up. One is I wouldn't just be blindly, yes, vaccine, because it has eliminated all these diseases. But number 2, would be now I've lost my train of thought. But I remember. Not that old yet.
It's because you have too much mercury in you.
The second point is that I think until it became some sort of obvious epidemic, I mean, fundamentally, I'd want to say that it would be what's the word? Not required. You know, in other words,
Yeah.
voluntary. But I remember, I mean, I'm 51. I remember they came around to our school and had this big machine, and they put it up to your shoulder, and they shot that just like
Yeah.
you know. The other guy was saying, you know, I mean,
The old
I've got
school.
the scar right here. You probably can't see it, but it's
Yeah, the
they
smallpox
did
scar.
it. They didn't ask. They didn't get permission. They didn't go to people's homes. Excuse me, can I vaccinate you? They went to the schools because that's where they knew all the kids were,
Yeah.
and they could get them in one cattle line of kids. Just, psh, you're done. Next, psh, you're done. Next, and I don't even know if it was like, oh, they didn't worry about whether it was like sanitary. They just kept shooting you with the same shot.
Oh God.
And so it was like, you got vaccinated. That was it. Nobody told you, okay, it has this in there. That was then though. See, that's all I'm saying. Now with big pharma and all that, I totally feel all these people's concerns.
Mhm.
Well, I'll say
just-
one thing that I definitely agree with you on
Go ahead.
is everybody should be looking into it for themselves, whatever side you're on. Everybody should be looking up the statistics and the science behind it and all that. Everybody.
Correct. That's what I was going to say. Medical science that we got to look at. We got to look
I
at the real
totally,
facts.
I totally agree with TruthSurge and Jenny McCarthy.
Well, I mean, okay, so they look into it and they see that there's a preservative or whatnot, or they have some part of it, some part of the process that has the mercury, fulminate, or is what they get pissed about, but then they don't look about how it gets transformed in it, or if it's still there in the finished thing, or how much of it is. Like it's like all they see is, oh God, it has mercury, it's bad. Yeah, but if it's like 1/1,000,000th apart, is it really, like TruthSurge was saying? You eat more from the goddamn tuna you get from a can, or so.
Yeah, exactly. One thing you can be sure of is that you shouldn't be doing anything like this.
One of the things they do is called
Sure.
anal leaking, where a man's anus is leaked like this by the other person, like ice cream, and then they eat the poo-poo.
So please, guys, do not eat the poo-poo, and don't leak any asses that have anal leaking, okay?
Too much mercury.
That might have too much mercury. Exactly, Drew.
Well, it is a health hazard.